Michael Majid live from Hollywood, California. With me, you know him as the one and only Pro GK Academy on Instagram, Omar Zeenni. Omar, you're going first because there's no way that you can beat out Saskia's intro ever again. 99 World Cup winner, UCLA goalkeeper coach, co-owner of Angel City FC, coming to the NWSL, the one and only Saskia Webber. And because we got to keep the jersey flair going, we got a quota, Susk, right? That we have to have at least one jersey person.
It's a quota. Absolutely.
Yeah. That we got to keep every month. We got to have a jersey person on. We have the one and only founder of Modern Goalkeeper Training Systems, John Plaugic. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're excited, man, because look, anybody that is a descendant of the one and only Paul Blodgett is definitely a friend in our books right there. You know, it's amazing how that Jersey goalkeeping community is just so tight. You guys all know each other. You guys all work together. You guys all grow together. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great to have role models like that in our home state. So it's great to have someone like Blodge, who coached me when I was a kid, and then to have him around now to be with us at Modern Goalkeeper. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that, you know, with Blodge and all that, I think I don't know the statistics on this or anything. Don't want to be like caught lying, Mr. President. But I think the thing with New Jersey and goalkeepers, I was thinking about a lot, is that I think we started a long time ago with having privates and having like a goalkeeper union and that base, and it just like opening up from there, which is why you find so many amazing goalkeepers, coaches, and everything coming out of New Jersey.
Actually, never thought about that before, but I think that's one of the things is all of Region 1 as a whole is that it was kind of one of those first kind of original, like the genesis of modern goalkeeping in the United States, for lack of a better term, with, you know, the outside here, and Omar, you know, knows this, the Wild West of the late 90s, early 2000s when it comes to club soccer. You know, it was all over the place. But in New York, New Jersey, there was kind of a history of this already kind of being put into place, you know, in the 80s and 90s. So, you know, you guys were way ahead of the curve. Speaking of that, John, for maybe some of the audience out there who might not be familiar with MGTS and what you guys all do over there, why don't you kind of, you know, just talk about your methodology and how you guys all came to be?
So we're Modern Goalkeeper, or Modern Goalkeeper Training Systems. I started the goalkeeper training school in 2009. That's when I stopped my playing career and decided to go right into coaching. And basically we have a platform where we offer training every day, whether it's one-on-one sessions or small groups. And the strength in what we do is offering training every day. And we have various locations all over the state. So the way I look at it as developing goalkeepers is if you have more touch time on the ball and you're on the field and you have the environment, we allow you to come and use any of our locations. So we take away the logistical problems that some parents run into. And we know over time, right? Any goalkeeper developer knows, like, if you're looking at a development plan or the periodization of training, you need to be training as often as possible. So I designed the business model that way so we can help the kids get on the ball a little bit more. And over time, it's been very successful for us. And I think the parents and the families in this area are thankful that they have this sort of environment that they can come into to train.
Yeah, you know, I think one thing that's actually really cool about MGTS, and I'm just using the short term because it's really hard for me to say Modern Goalkeeper Training Systems. It's a tongue twister right there. Is that you have such a variety of different coaches that are involved. I mean, you're talking about, like, you know, Paul Blodgett being like a director of goalkeeping, you know, over there, to even younger coaches that, you know, have worked underneath you guys and had really storied playing careers, you know, going through Red Bull systems and all that sort of stuff that, it seems more like a family than just a bunch of random coaches that came together to start an academy, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, when I first started this, it was just, me. So it was just me running the show for Modern Goalkeeper and the training program. And, wow, Kara, killing me. These are, sorry about that, guys. So it was just me. We just started in 2009. I started coaching. It was just me, and we've grown it where I can't do it alone, right? So I need a staff. I need a team that's going to help. That's going to help our guys develop. And we need an army. And every coach has different styles, different ways of teaching. We have a methodology. We have a curriculum, but it's important that we have a team, because we can execute and do more for everyone that we're trying to help by having a team of qualified coaches.
I mean, that is so important. I mean, I know that Saskia and Omar and we've discussed this in regards to the collaboration of different goalkeeper coaches, because myself personally, don't like kids to just train with one person, because I feel that then they start becoming dependent on that coach. Saskia, I know you've been, very, I don't want to say critical about it, but you've been a big proponent of, like, make sure that you're not, you experience it and get to learn from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different philosophies, not one size fits all, so, we talk about that even with our players, like pro players and everybody like that. Go overseas, go learn from everybody you can, and find what works best for you. Put together all the different techniques, put together, what you can to make yourself the best goalkeeper. My way is not the best way. Omar certainly isn't. So it's like, sorry, it's just so easy sometimes, Omar. So I'm just saying yes. And so I totally agree with that, and multiple coaches, even under the same umbrella, even with you guys in Jersey and stuff like that. Like, it'd be great one day, you see Plaugic, the other day you see another coach, the other day, and so on.
Yeah. And I think, even Omar, even yourself, just as a private coach, who does a lot of private sessions, I know that a lot of the kids that train with you also train with a lot of different types of goalkeeper coaches. And I know that that's something that kind of came from your own background, because you started recognizing, later on in your development, that you had been kind of only been shown one path, and that it was limiting you in regards to, what you could learn.
Yeah, no, I think, again, you start seeing in different groups that you're in, whether it's college, whether it's professional, like tryouts, that's what I ended up doing. You start seeing goalkeepers who have different styles, and you start realizing, oh my God, they're making saves that I'm conceding goals on. And you're going, wow, I wish I would have learned that, or I wish my coach would have allowed me to, explore those new techniques. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's a little too late. I think it was a little too late for me before I started exploring techniques, but I used to always watch games, and I was very aware of what was out there, what was new. But again, in training sessions, the coaching staff would limit us in terms of what we could try, especially in college too. It's a little bit unfortunate, because you have games in quick succession, and you're not really trying to learn new techniques. It's just about getting the wins. Now, I remember even myself, I was doing a graduate assistant role, and Armando is one of my good friends. He had like 2 or 3 errors in practice. And I walked up to him, I said, man, you need to, do this better, do this better, do this better. And our goalkeeper coach walked up to me and said, Omar, he has a game tomorrow. You're trying to implement new techniques and new things into his mind. We don't need that. We just need to be confident for the game. So sometimes we can almost create an artificial, setting for these goalkeepers where they're not being forced to try new things. It's just like, you know what, do what you do, and get us that result tomorrow.
Well, but speaking of that, let's kind of move into today's topic right here. And today's topic is going to be handshake and shock absorption in regards to trying new things. I think this is very prevalent in regards to getting younger goalkeepers to try different hand positions, different ways to shoot to the ball, how to contain the ball, and everything like that. And John and I off the air, I know we had been discussing, the fact that a lot of times we're getting the excuses from a lot of kids where it's like, oh, it's the gloves that do everything. Well, gloves are not magic. I just want every young goalkeeper out there to hear this. Like, there's some great gloves out there. Don't get me wrong. I love the glove people, but gloves are not magic. It's like saying, that, like, this dumbbell is all of a sudden gonna give you this incredible, muscle building power. It's like, no, you have to use the product properly. So in your kind of words, John, like, for maybe some of the parents out there who might not be familiar with what we mean by hand shape, what do we mean by hand shape?
So when we're talking about hand shape in regards to catching, we're looking at how you're going to position your hands to wrap around the ball to catch it. But it's also relative to what type of catch we're doing, right? So I just wrote a list real quick. So in the coaching schools, they're teaching you like the contour, the high contour, a basket, a scoop. In the UK, they call it a scoop, a pickup. Okay. A front smother if they hit a ball with a little more pace on the ground, a forward dive, same thing. It's just coaches maybe worded a little bit different. And then it's like, okay, based on this catch, whatever catch you're using, what are the skills or the nuances you need to secure the ball properly? And it all comes down to what I call, or we use in teaching, is shaping our body to the ball, right? Because if you shape your body to the ball, your body and your legs get you in the area, and then your hands and your upper body is going to complete the grasp or the catch. And it's important that we understand how we need to position our body and also our hands, because our body works as one to make saves. So that's the really important factor. Is it's not just the hands. We can't look at our body and look at this only and say, hey, and the gloves and this is a problem. We have to look at, from the tips of our toes to the tips of our fingers. This is what I have to use to secure the ball. And based on that particular serve, we may have to do something different each time to collect it.
I think you just brought up a really good point. And Saskia, I know that this is something that you've talked to kids about all the time. And, because they a lot of times, as we talk about, you tell kids like, oh, they got to work on your hands. Well, then they just focus on just their hands, so we need to be a little bit more specific on what we want from them. So, like Saskia, like what are some of the things like maybe you've done with goalkeepers in the past to kind of, explain to them how like the fingertips all the way to the shoulders, how they're connected and how to keep, Omar, you'd brought up stillness, and I we'll talk about that in a second. In regards to making sure that they've got a clear hold of the ball.
Well, first of all, I love what you said about the gloves. And a lot of my young kids, I make them take their gloves off. And although I can't control this, I don't like my kids wearing finger saves at practice at all. I think it's ridiculous. Sorry to all the finger save makers out there, but it's like, give me a knee brace. Nothing's wrong with my knee. I'm going to train with a knee brace on. And then I'm going to take the knee brace off and expect my knee to be strong. It's ridiculous. Strengthen your hand. Your hands catch the ball, period. I don't care what gloves you have on. Your hands catch the ball. And so, one of my major things is 2 hands to the ball. We see a lot of kids today, like, they're going for that one touch save, one touch here. Well, everything, bring 2 hands to the ball. If you have to shoot a single hand at some point after that, this is my philosophy. I'm not saying it's the right one or the wrong one. Then you shoot a single hand. The reason I say that is because the energy is derived from your entire body. If you're stepping and you're going, this drives more energy than that does from your body to shoot wherever you have to go to. And I'm a stickler for holding on to the ball. I hate rebounds. I think it's a lost art today. I think too many kids go in there and they say their favorite goalkeeper is blocking the ball. And I just stand there. I'm like, just catch the ball. Catch the ball. Like, why can't you catch the ball? And if you can't catch the ball, do a controlled save. Like, don't just come up like this and parry the ball back in the field of play or out for a corner kick. And so I'm a stickler for, I know Plaugic is like this too, but I make all my goalkeepers do a series of just core work and handling as their cool down or warm up, where they're just literally sitting or kneeling and catching the ball. And catching volleys. 2 hands to the ball, keep them within a location together and move together.
I think a lot of it has to do with just, in regards to just these basic foundational movements. Because, and then the counter argument, Omar, and I want to show a video of yours in a second here, is that, but the demands of the game now, and we want to train scenarios and we want to train all of that stuff. Yes, that is very true. But that's also like, do not teach kids how to pass a ball cleanly first, so like there has to be a foundation of understanding of how the body moves, so then you can make adjustments. And what I want to do right now is
it's just like we got into the argument upper hand or lower hand. I was like, I don't care, keep the ball in the net. I'm not going to turn around if you go back to tip a ball and you do it with your bottom hand and it goes, you keep it out of the net. If your body shape's fine and your footwork was good, keep the ball in the net.
And Saskia, I think that can be sometimes the thing that's holding most of those goalkeepers back is, I don't know, John, I'm sure you've seen this as well. Some of the young goalkeeper coaches that are coming up, they want to make a name for themselves. So I think they really want their goalkeepers to have that aesthetic, and the aesthetic meaning that they have to hold the ball a certain way. And they're going to get hundreds and hundreds of reps so that if somebody sees them playing, they go, oh, that person's very technical, but they've also been working with John or Omar. So you kind of put a stamp on those keepers. But unfortunately, you give them so many of those reps. And like Mike said, you have to create the technique first and then transition from technique to actually, tactical and actual, game specific stuff where you can actually use these skill sets that you're creating. And I think that is the beauty of, if I was a young goalkeeper and I was working with Saskia, in my head now, I understand that, handling, parrying, steering, all this is just skill sets that we're teaching you. But don't look over your shoulder at me. And if that ball is a ball you should steer and you're trying to hold it and it goes in, well, Coach Saskia told me I should try and hold this ball. It's like no.
Coach Saskia told me to keep the ball out of net.
Dude, John, I don't know about you. That's like my biggest pet peeve is when a kid goes, well, coach said blah blah blah. It's like, dude, like, do you not have a mind of your own? And are you not in the moment? Like the coach isn't playing in the game.
Well, I think. So there's a subculture of goalkeeper training, and it's most prevalent in this part of the country because there's a lot of replication and copying and of what a goalkeeper training environment should be. And there could be people that are training players in the park and they do this for some extra money, or it's not really a profession. So there's a lot of opinion, and there's a lot of, I did this when I was playing, and there's some things like that. But we have to choose. I had a coach I worked with when I first started coaching. And he said, you're a goalkeeper here at St. Benedict's Prep. Your job is to make sure you're keeping the situation safe. So no matter what's happening in that situation, choose what the safest option is for you not to concede a goal. And it's one thing I remember from him, because he was very calm, but a very, very serious coach. And he was an outfield player coach, but he explained it to the goalkeepers so well, where he said, guys, look, you don't have to do everything perfect, but we want you to choose to use the right skill in the right moment. And you have to differentiate of when to do what. And that's really important. And we have to design our training sessions so the kids can make a decision, and you're making these decisions in 1-2 seconds because the ball's coming at such a speed. And that's where I think everyone can improve as a coaching professional. Is there's technical, there's goalkeeper coach and the goalkeeper. And then how do we relate it to real soccer when the ball spins, the field's wet, there's a deflection, you have to move, the field's pretty damn big, right? Why are you only training in an area or chopping over cones in a 3-yard area? The goalkeeper had to sprint 14 yards to get in position because you're playing outside the 18. So these are all things, and we try to consider as a modern goalkeeper, right? Of, hey man, there's more to this game than just standing in there and blocking shots.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I'm glad you brought up that right there. In regards to the hand shape thing here, Omar, I kind of want you to walk us through this video right here. First off, one thing I want all the young goalkeepers out there to notice here is the forward position of the hands, even when they're doing the hurdle work right here. So the goalkeeper is already in an active position where once they get set, their hands are already still in position right there. It's not an arm swing situation where their elbows are back and they're flailing forward. They're already ready, it's set and prepped. And seeing there's already that window, that little cushion. And John, I know how we talk about shock absorption here. As that ball comes in, it's nice and clean. So Omar, why don't you walk us through this? This is one of your boys.
Yeah, no. So I had Jake and Jacob. It gets confusing sometimes with the names, but I had these two goalkeepers. One's a pro, and one was a very good college goalkeeper. And again, it works for both of them. But with Jake here, you'll start to see he has very, very good hand shape, meaning that his arms aren't too extended, which means he has good hand-eye coordination, which keeps the ball in a good position where, like Saskia said, using those fingers to really grip the ball. And I do an exercise sometimes where I, have my goalkeepers reach their arms out away from them, keep their head, facing forward. And I tell them, don't let me move your arms. I'm going to try and push you back. Don't let me move you. And I do it. And because they're not looking at their hands, they don't have, hand-eye coordination or keeping their eyes on their hands. It's weak. So then I say, now look at your hands and don't let me push you back. And it's a stark difference. And the kids, sometimes you have to show them those little things and relate it to them. They understand, like, okay, in layman's terms, this is exactly what it means. So here, I told Jacob, I said, look, you're reaching too far for the ball, and now your hand-eye coordination is not going to be as strong. So you want to have your body moving together, not moving separately. And you can keep going, Mike, and I'll show you this. I do like a side-by-side still image. So right there, you can just see.
Okay.
So right here, you'll see when I slow it down. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It'll stop itself.
Okay. Yeah, and see, I'm in complete agreement with you here, right here too, because first thing I noticed also too is that the reason that he's fully extended like that, in my opinion personally, and I don't know how you guys feel, is because his hands are starting too close to his body, and because he's in a rigid position, he's going to shoot and extend like that. Whether it's the other guy, he's starting a more natural, relaxed shape forward already, so he doesn't have to shoot as far because his body shape is already in a preparation for containment. And I don't know if anyone else sees that.
So one last thing, Mike. One last thing. I think I use boxing and I try to use analogies from different sports, but boxing specifically, and I actually have a boxing bag in my house now. So I'm trying to understand, like, when you actually try to punch somebody, you don't leave your arm fully extended and then try to punch a little bit more. You keep everything close to the body, and then you really try and, create force. And from there, you use your body, like Saskia said earlier, use the energy from your body to create momentum. And when you create momentum, then you have, again, that's when the technical stuff happens, and then you're able to actually strike the ball or make a save. So, specifically here, when your hands are fully extended like that, you have no more to give. It's done. And here with Jake, he actually has the ability to readjust if that ball goes slightly to his right. So he doesn't have to go straight and then go to the right. He goes straight to the ball versus going out then back. So again, I talk about tug of war a lot, where it's like you want to go one way, but then you also have to go somewhere else. And your body's like, wait, what's happening here? You want us to go forward and then left? Okay, it's going to take us an extra second. And the extra second costs you a goal.
It's actually Newton's theory. I'd like to say it was mine, but it's not.
Is it Newton?
But I mean, you have to think about it simplistically, as if you put a wall up and you shoot a bullet, or you shoot something at a wall, the wall still, something's hitting it, it's going to knock it, right? But if you meet energy with energy, you're going to move energy. So you're going to move the object. So if something's coming this way and you're going this way, you're going to control that, or you're going to help move that. So if you're already extended and you're trying to control a ball like that, it's harder than meeting the ball, than coming from here, coming to there, instead of being here and then trying, because then the ball's actually hitting you. You're not catching the ball.
Yeah. That's a great point right there that you brought up, because I wanted to get that into regards to shock absorption, John, because I feel that as the speed of the game increases, the less and less effective that locked position gets for kids. And this is where I think, John, we start getting that what should I say, basically the kid blaming it on, the gloves or the grip or whatever, but because you literally can't contain the ball when you're locked like that, right?
Yeah, we're using our whole body to absorb the pace, right? And now if we're talking about a youth player, what does a youth player shoot the ball? 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, maybe? Now when you go from a youth to a pro, 60, 70, 80, it's a flash. Like, I remember when I went over to Norway and I went from playing college here and U19, whatever, a high level here, I guess, right? But then you go over and you're like, whoa, man, this ball's coming in hard and heavy. And if you don't have your body in a position to be able to, you have your base, you have your framework, you have your set position, right? If you don't have that base and then be able to stay calm and see the ball and then bring that energy out into the ball, but you bring it into the space the ball's traveling, then you can absorb as it comes in, and not a biting action. You're not like going to grasp or bite, right? It's really important that we teach the kids how to do these things. And regardless of the type of gloves you're wearing, or whether they're new or whether they're old, actually new gloves are more of an enemy because they haven't molded to your hands yet. So I tell all my players, hey, you got new gloves? You need to wash them and mold them to your hands before, which takes 5 minutes, because then the latex molds to your hand. And now it's going to feel more natural because you want to grab the ball with a natural shape. But yeah, you're looking at, like, the video is perfect, right? You're looking at two contrasting styles. One goalkeeper is a little bigger than the other, but one is clearly, you can tell who has a little more experience with how they're grasping the ball, and they understand what type of goalkeeper they are. And you can see their body shape and how they're absorbing the pace. They're very comfortable. Whereas the other boy looks tense. And if you look tense and you're rigid, when the ball comes in at pace, you're gonna be in a vulnerable position. I always tell my players, you're gonna get set to when the ball is struck. You're gonna have your base and your platform of where your feet are gripping the ground. but your upper body is ready, but it's more relaxed than the lower body, because the lower body is going to do the work to move into the ball, and the upper body in the core has to do the work to absorb, right? You're going to absorb as the ball comes in with the upper part of your body and your joints, wrist, elbow, shoulders, even your neck and your head, right? And your core. It all has to work together to absorb the pace of the ball coming in.
Yeah, Mike.
Go ahead,
John. I want to bring up. I was watching this like business YouTube channel, and this guy was talking about like as a businessman, you got to be like a duck in the pond. You got to have your feet underneath you. You got to be working 100 miles an hour, but the exterior, what people can see, it needs to be calm.
Little feet,
yeah.
Super.
So that's,
yeah.
And that's what we tell our goalkeepers is like John exactly just said, is that when you move across the goal, your legs are doing all the work, but from the hips up, you got to be not still. I tell my goalkeepers too, like if you start jogging on your cross step, your mind's not going to be sharp. So if you have to move quick, when you get there, be calm, but don't be calm in the mind, but be calm in the body so that you can react and adjust wherever you need to go. But I think that's a really good point, John.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I have a duck in my head.
I know I've got the little duck swimming right here. Saskia, I know this is something that when you're working with youth keepers, it is something that is very, very prevalent, and that's, you know, in regards to when you shoot so hard and jolt like that, you don't create a window in any way whatsoever. And then obviously we were looking at the, you know, the younger pro right there, how he did have that clean window. Is that one of kind of the biggest mistakes that you see young goalkeepers making, is the speed increases so they start shooting at the ball because it's coming faster and they're just not used to it?
I see a lot with younger goalkeepers. They're just putting a wall up. They're just like, here comes a shot, and they're already here, and they're just like this, and it's like, ding, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? That's what I see more than, and letting the ball play them. That's the what I used. It's you're not catching the ball. You're letting the ball hit you, and there's a massive difference in those two things. You reaching, absorbing, catching, getting your feet behind it, getting your body behind it, makes everything nice, calm, flowing, and everything like that. You letting the ball hit you, whether it's in the hands or where, that's stiff, that's rigid, that's going to give up rebounds. You're not going to hold on to the ball. And that's what I see with a lot of younger goalkeepers. But, you know, eventually, now with college goalkeepers and stuff, you know, obviously you're talking about the best goalkeepers in the country, but, you know, no, I don't see that as much. I do see it with some of them, but I don't see it as much. Not talking about mine. But,
No. Well,
you know,
I've seen somebody
I'm
at least
some pros.
No.
So.
Look, I mean, if you see the way people hit the ball nowadays, I mean, you know, all of us here can attest.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like try. And I tell everybody that, and even pros that I mentor, give it a try. Like, you're going into it saying, oh, so-and-so is hitting this ball and it's moving all over the place. It always moves. I'm just going to block it. I'm going to block. And I feel like I see players make that decision before they even make the effort. I'm like, you're in practice, try to catch the ball. Please try to catch the ball.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I'd rather see you make the effort to try to catch the ball, because it's the same as extending your range it across. How do you know until you try to catch these balls? And then eventually you'll figure out what you can't catch. But don't just say, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, you know, it's really funny because, Omar, do you remember like last week with Jane Campbell, and Saskia, you were on that as well too, and then yesterday with Dallas, they both commented, oh, I think I could have held that ball.
Yeah.
I think I could have held that ball. That was both of their notes, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, it's self-critique. I think those guys that next level too. And I was happy that Dallas even let us show that clip. If I was him, I probably would have been like, you know, that's a conceded goal that I probably could have saved. I don't want you guys to see it, but credit to him for letting us watch it. But sorry, go back to what Saskia just said. I think another big thing that we have to take into account with our goalkeepers is the psychology that is implemented by the coaches. And I've had kids who look at me and say, hey, that's been three or four reps now and you haven't said a thing. And I'm like, do you want me to, like, am I supposed to be coaching you all the whole time? He's like, no, I'm just so used to coaches stopping the session and telling me what I did wrong and all that. I'm like, yeah, but if I stop you on rep 1 and I stop you on 2, 3, 4, you're going to keep on taking information that I'm giving you and you're not going to think on your own. So on 1, I let you go until 5. And in those 4 reps, what did you learn? And they, oh, you know what? I felt like my hand positioning was this way, and then I changed it up, and then I actually made the save. And then the next one I didn't make the save. So I'm trying to figure out which one was the best way. I'm like, exactly. You need to problem solve. And again, that's what I'm talking about with young goalkeeper coaches. And Mike had to coach this out of me when I was a young goalkeeper coach, is that you almost want to justify to the parents, you're paying this much because this is what I can do. This is where I play. This is what I can do for your kids. When really at the end of the day, I mean, you got to give them the freedom to figure it out on their own. Yeah, give them some guidance, but let them go a few reps. And I think it's something that I've been trying to do more. And I think the kids that I'm training with finally realize, okay, he's not going to stop the session if I'm having a blunder here or there. I got to figure it out.
Yeah. John, how many times have you had a kid that you get first into your academy who hasn't trained there before, and the first thing they do after you play a ball at them, some sort of type of service, they look right at you to see what type of approval you're giving?
Well,
and I'm like, why are you looking at me?
You're looking at players that maybe come in their training with you for the first time. And it's important that, remember, we're coaches, right? We're coaching professionals, we're goalkeeper coaches, but we have to be educators and teachers. So you have to know how to relate to the player you're coaching and how you're going to get over and how you're going to get through to them, right? Because coaching pros is totally different than coaching youth players. And then there's young kids you handle different, high level 12 to 18-year-olds different. And then pros almost don't want you to say anything to them. They look at you as a coach and they're like, just shut up, bro. Right? Because they know, there's feedback, right? And there's professional, but they know what they're supposed to do. And it's your job as a coach, when you're coaching youth player, relate to them, right? Make it relatable. Let them be comfortable with you, right? That's part of developing your culture of what we do here, right? I like it when I tell my players, like we chat with the players before the first session, like with the parents, and I say, look, hey, this is your first day. This is kind of what to expect. I want you to feel free to ask me any questions you have. If one of your other coaches teaches you this, or they explain this technique that way, let's chat about it, because we can bring some perspective into what we're teaching you here. And it's important that the kids can fail, and we teach a lot of, I want you to catch the ball, because we're not trying to win at training today. We're not trying to get 3 points. We're not losing money if we don't catch the ball today, right? But we're developing you so you do catch the ball when it matters 3 years from now, when you're playing at a very high level and you've developed into the athlete you can become because of the work and the mindset and the culture we've built within you when you're a young player, which is always trying to improve, trying to do the right thing, and understanding what technique or what skill to use when, and having the ability to make mistakes and learn from them and go, hey, I made the save. Yeah, it was a good save. It was a reaction save. I probably could have changed my hand a little, but I gave the rebound straight out that way, and they're going to score on the second and the third ball. Now, maybe the kid realizes, hey, I could have deflected it differently and gave up a corner kick, and now our team can defend the set piece, and hey, our team's pretty good at doing that. So maybe these are things we have to consider as a coach. We have to have that ability to speak with our players.
I want to talk about this right here, because one of the things, and I don't know, I know that this was a mistake that I made when I was younger, and I see it with young goalkeeper coaches, and I see it with young goalkeepers. They come to me, and Saskia, I don't know if you've seen this too. Omar, I know we've discussed this before, is they say, how should I have my hands? How should I have my feet? How should my shoulders be? As if there's a right or wrong, if there's a perfect answer. And the problem is that, and I think we've discussed this, is that because every goalkeeper is different, what's going to work for one person is not going to work for another person, right?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
No, of course. We've talked about that a ton of times. Like, it's a gray area and everybody's different. I mean, I do think there's some basic fundamentals, about, body positioning, footwork, and stuff. I think we can all overall agree there's certain things that we'd like to see all goalkeepers do. And it really depends on the strengths and everything of the keeper. I mean, I don't know, when it comes to handling and footwork and body positioning and stuff, I mean, I'm pretty much across the board. Like, with my keepers, like, okay, this is how this needs to be. But I mean, but with certain, like one, like Adalia is like a little smaller, you know, and so she, you know, her positioning's got to be different. Her strengths are a little different with her body size and everything like that, where Kelly's like tall and really lean, and, you know, Lauren's like the perfect mix of everything. And so it's just like, you know, those are all things to take into consideration, but I do think there's some basics, period.
Well, let's talk about this right here is in regards to like the hand shape, right? Because here's the thing that I see a lot of times is that a goalkeeper will say, well, my coach tells me to have my hands like this. Okay. My other coach was telling me to have my hands like this. Some coaches want my hands like this. And I go, dude, it's about what feels comfortable to you in regards to when you go for the ball, how do you feel clean?
Right.
The one thing I always tell kids is don't be rigid with your hands, because if you're rigid, then you have to use that energy to actually change into a contoured like shape, as opposed to just have, whether you want to be like this, this, whatever is going to keep it in a pocket. And when you shoot, you're going to be able to create that barrier. Right, Omar?
Yeah. And most of the time too, I just tell the goalkeepers, tell me just whatever you feel is comfortable for you. Whatever you feel comfortable for you, because I'm not in your head. I don't know what feels good for you. So if I'm telling you you're doing something wrong and you're saying, well, or like, excuse me, aesthetically, it looks wrong as on video, you know, your hands are super, super low and it's dragging your whole body down, but you feel comfortable knowing that if it shoots back up or the shot goes above your waist, you're going to be able to shoot up, then I'm wrong. So I think that's the biggest thing, though, and that's one thing that I did when I was a player, too. I was very curious as to understanding why certain players did certain things. So I would ask them, hey, you know, why do you have your legs a little bit wider? Well, you know, I'm 6'3", 6'4", so for me, I just feel more comfortable thinking that I can get to the ground. Okay, perfect. Then I had a shorter goalkeeper. I said, so why do you start so high on your line on corner kicks? He's like, well, I want to be in an advanced position so that I can get a jump in front of the attackers, so I have the ability to get there before they do. So you're curious, but you're also asking these questions, and they're giving you their reasoning for why they do it. And I know a lot of goalkeepers too, when I ask them questions, they don't even have a reason. My coach taught me when I was a kid and it worked. And so that's good. And sometimes it's not good. But I think that's important, is to just question the kids and have them be curious, but also have them stand by what they were taught or what they believe in. And you'll find out soon, like, hey, you ask them enough whys, they'll go, honestly, coach, I have no idea. Coach Saskia told me to do this. It worked. It worked. And I don't know.
Saskia's fault.
She's too scary. I can't change it.
Honestly, I tell them, I start with telling them to be an athlete. I said, why don't we start there?
Exactly.
What's natural? Be an athlete. When it comes to movement across the goal, you know, you get kids, like I said, we go back to this all the time. They're so literal, you know? So they'll be like, you know, you get those kids that'll be shuffling like 18 yards. You're sitting there like, if this is the drill, it's going to take us the whole entire day. You know? And I'll just turn and I'll say to them, just get across the goal, please, like an athlete, just run. Go.
I have a good joke for when players come and train like that. I said, hey, look at me real quick, right? I'm stealing your wallet right now. How are you going to run away? I'm gonna steal your phone. I'm gonna steal your wallet.
It's a jersey. It's got to be a jersey.
Are you gonna? It's yeah, of course, right? I said, are you gonna run away that way? Because I'll catch you 4 times. And I said, let's play it and let's joke around. Maybe a good icebreaker, right? If the kid's like really nervous or shy. All right, you side shuffle and I'm gonna run and catch you, right? And you start laughing, right? You have some fun and you go, hey, dude. If we're going to try to move from A to B and it's quite a distance, we got a boogie, man. So we got to leave point A and we got to get to B as quick as we can. How are we going to do that?
Exactly.
And we just got to turn and run, dude. Crossover, side run, whatever terminology you want to use, just turn and boogie, man. Look at the ball and go. But that's always a little joke I do with the players if they're used to training very square, as I would say, like very square training sessions, chop in, chop out, straight forward, straight back. It's like, dude, you got to be able to just be able to run when it calls for it.
Absolutely.
I want to bring this up right here because this is my favorite excuse that I get from young goalkeepers. Oh, they don't catch the ball in the pro matches. They don't catch the ball. What are you talking about? Like, they don't catch the ball. I'm like, well, I want your hand shapes. I get some wonderful. I get some gems. I get some gems. That's it. I'll be honest. So Omar, why don't you walk us through this example right here? and because this is a really great example of just a great hand shape and how the player held on to the ball really clean. So start it up.
Yeah, no, again, it's like again, when we talk about pause real quick. I'm going to give some context before we start.
Okay.
But I think,
Sure.
again, when we talk about clean handling, and we talk about, presence of mind in your head to decide whether it's going to be a ball you want to, hold on to or you want to parry. It's, again, creating those goalkeeper reps in training sessions so that you have clarity when you're fatigued. I think that's what we talk about all the time. We get goalkeepers who come back from like vacation and they can't catch a ball and they get frustrated. I'm like, just be realistic with yourself. You haven't thought about goalkeeping forever. You're going to be flinching at everything. Your goalkeeper fitness and your mind's not sharp. So in this situation, what's going to happen here is essentially it's a more like kind of a frantic play, and this goalkeeper decides he's not going to come for this ball. He has to recover, and then as that shot bounces around, I think corner of the 6, he gets a ball. It's probably going close to 100 miles an hour, insanely fast. But you could see how he's calmed himself down after that frantic start, recovers, and he still completely has presence of mind and clarity in his head to go, you know what, I'm going to try and catch this. And if he didn't, that thing's taking his face off.
So the ball comes in. It's this big scramble, and then the guy just bullet right here, right?
Yeah, just let it play, though. Let it play.
Okay. You want me to play in real time? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll play in real time.
So he doesn't come, then he resets.
Ooh.
And again, what I didn't like, though, is, if you are really critiquing it, you'll see, keep it going, Mike. It'll go really slow motion here. Just a slight arm swing again. I'm not a huge fan of that. But again.
Yeah.
It's Hertha Berlin, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
So you got a little German in him, yeah.
It's a German joke, right? The arm swing. So
he looks English though, so I don't know. It could be.
I'm joking because it's Hertha Berlin. I'm not sure if that's the youth team, right? So it's not Thomas Kraft, it's not Klingsman, it's someone else.
Yes.
But hey, right? We're gonna say arm swing, no arm swing, Neuer, Ter Stegen, trap, all this nonsense, and the guy sticks a bullet like that. So. It's like, hey man, it works for him.
Hey, if he's got it down, he's got it down.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Look at this. This is a brilliant video. Look at the concentration right there. Perfect.
Yeah, I love that. I love the eye focus too, and the stillness. Remember we talked about? Was it yesterday with Omar that we talked about the stillness with
yes.
with Dallas? Okay.
Seeing through obstructed views and seeing things through traffic. Not trying not to. Allow yourself to really veer from direct path of the ball and being stable. Yeah.
Saskia, I want to ask you, your thoughts on this right there, because as he made contact with that, you talk about making sure that you control the catch, right? Well, it looks to me like he might feel like there's a little bit of a bobble, so he cradles it back in like that. Is that what you were kind of referring to?
What I mean is if you feel that, I would rather see him do that or do a controlled catch, even if it's a down. Okay, so even if it comes in and he pats it down and bounces right back up, just a controlled catch. That's what I mean by that. Then just pairing that over, because you never know. Look, granted, it's a game. It's a game, and that's a bullet. But it happened today in practice, and Lauren actually said to me at one point, she went to save a ball, and Lauren's hands are incredible. Her speed on the ball is incredible. She's so strong and everything. And she made a comment. She went to catch it. I think it went in, and it was a bullet. And she's like, "Oh, I should have just parried it." But the height of the ball, like it would have been an awkward height. Like it was all. And I go, "No, absolutely not." I go, "You should have tried to catch it. It's practice." And, it's the second week of practice, and, I would expect that soon you'll hold on to that. And I think any other time she would have held on to it. I don't want you to don't play safe with me in practice right now. I want to see you try to catch and hold on to that ball, and eventually you'll figure out what you can and can't. Don't just go for the easy. I'll parry it. I was just like, no, I actually like what you did, and I really don't care if the ball went in, because I don't. Like, I like the effort to hold on to it.
Go ahead, Omar.
No, thanks, Saskia. I think it's important too. I think we were talking about it recently, where like if somebody sends you footage, we as coaches, before we critique it, we want to know the context of the session. Like, what was your goalkeeper coach telling you prior? Was today a day you're going to take risks? Was today a day we're going to try and hold things? Was today we're going to work on steering? So I think that's super important too for like any coaches out there who are listening, is that like give your kids some context of like, today I want you to have some freedom. I want you to try and get, we're going to work on some crosses today. Maybe start a little bit higher. Maybe start a little bit deeper. Just, play around with your positioning. And then from there, I think when you sometimes give those keepers that freedom, and then it kind of like, not to blame on someone else, but like, give them the ability to go, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone because someone asked me to, versus some kids don't have it in them to just step out of their comfort zone innately. So I think that's important to just give them that freedom, like John said earlier, about creating a culture where you can be, serious, but at the same time too, you can give them that kind of reinforcement, the positive reinforcement that like, these decisions are going to be supported. Just do you.
Yeah. And that's a great point actually, because I'll just tie into that for a moment. So when I was growing up as a youth player, I've played on some great teams in the area of where I grew up, but I wasn't much of a goalkeeper at that time. But the one thing I can remember was it was actually the opposite, right? They didn't want you to do anything. So they wanted you to just kind of stand there and be the guy that stands in the goal. And
so you were Omar at 12. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So no, but the culture was, you're the goalkeeper. You just kind of stand there and the ball comes your way. You do what you need to. But the expression or the personality, like goalkeeper's personality now is a pro goalkeeper's personality is so different than a youth player and so on and so forth. But you need to be able to get to your player and get a comfort and a confidence with them where they're able to make mistakes. Because I remember as a kid, I'm playing scared the whole game. Like I didn't want the ball to come to me when I was younger. And now when I was older playing, I'm like, dude, I want the ball. I'm going to get it because I'm playing 30 yards off my line. Like, dude, center back, play me the ball right now because I'm going here. Like I was playing and I enjoyed playing and I had that freedom. And if you can give that to your player, if you're the goalkeeper coach and you and the staff of the head coach and everyone, if you can come up with a way of where you're instilling confidence and belief and you let them go play and you have the feedback where, hey, I trust you and I trust your judgment of what you're doing, that's how you get them to go up the pyramid and get so much better because they have that comfort level and they can try to experiment and become a better athlete and make better decisions. And that's a vital part of coaching. It's not the military, right? We're not telling everyone march in line and you can't get out of line, because the game, they have to solve the puzzle pieces as it unfolds. And we need them to believe in themselves and have the ability to make decisions. So we need to be facilitating them like, hey, I totally trust you. I totally trust what you're doing. And we establish that culture with our players. And then they're going to go out and they're going to play and you're going to look at each other and smile and go, dude, I love the decision you made there because that's what I wanted you to do. And you have that relationship, that bond that a goalkeeper coach to goalkeeper where, you have that look like, I'm really proud of what you did right there because you handled the situation properly.
Yeah. And I think Matt, to John's point again, it's like with Ederson specifically, do we have an Ederson if we don't have Pep Guardiola supporting him completely to make certain or allow certain decisions or certain things to happen in the game? I don't know if we do. I think a lot of coaches would probably be, hey, don't make that risky pass across, the back line, 20, 30 yards skimming at waist height. Don't do that. But he allows him to do that. And we've seen incredible, it's not redefining the position because I think Neuer did that way back in the day, but it's just creating another layer to the goalkeeping. Like, oh my God, that's possible. Oh crap. And then coaches are seeing,
a different manager would drop him.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're looking at styles and he fits, like they went out and bought him for a reason. And they're going to live and die by how they play because that's how Pep plays. Of course. Right. And that's a prime example of style. You pick the goalkeeper that fits your team and the motto of how you play. And it's a great point because they tell him like, you're the point man, you're the quarterback. And we want you to take those risks. And he's capable of doing it. And he's going to keep getting better because he's making these decisions under enormous pressure in the game. And now he's still a young goalkeeper that's going to continue to improve while he's playing in these highly competitive matches.
Speaking of that, I want to bring this up right now, and I want to go to Saskia about this. And Saskia, I know you got to bounce in a second here. The reason I want to bring it up with you is because you were very good in the air. My gosh, even at Rutgers, there's a shrine to you.
It's a crappy catch, though.
But in regards to handling balls in the flighted service in the air and actually catching the ball, and a lot of it, I think a lot of times what happens with young goalkeepers, and I don't know if you agree, Sus, is that they think that a flighted service, that their hand shape is different. I notice so many kids that their shape is good when they go to catch a clean ball, but when it comes to flighted service, they start getting underneath the ball, they start getting over the ball, their hands start coming in flat because they're not looking at it as the same shooting of the ball. How is that something that we can work on with goalkeepers?
I mean, it's really timing. I loved flighted balls. I loved everything. But I loved crosses, and it was timing. It was the feeling of getting that timing right, going up and meeting the ball at its highest point, but powering through it, catching, sticking it, bringing it down, being arrogant about it. And it's just the more reps. And I will say this as a blanket statement. Kids don't do enough crossing, and catching.
No, that's accurate, because
absolutely not.
No one, first off, to coach it, it's more difficult.
Absolutely.
To serve now, and I don't want to sound like a punk, right? But
I can't serve across that well.
Well, anyway, some coaches can't serve the ball. So if you can't serve crosses, from either quality crosses, within a routine, then how do you expect you're going to coach your player? If you're doing hand tosses the whole time, it's not, you do hand tosses for technical, and then you'll build out of that, right? But you have to be able to serve the ball and make it real, right? So
absolutely. And it's not, and the kids as well, like even the teens as they're growing up, those kids can't hit across.
Yeah.
And then you get slotted balls or driven balls and stuff like that, which is fine. It's realistic for their age group and everything like that. But if you can't do crossing drills with your field players and use your keepers, and you as a coach can't hit a cross. I mean, I can hit an okay cross, but I can't hit 100 of them. And but thank God I have UCLA players that I can hit them all perfectly. But how are you going to train it? And the reason I was so good at it was because every practice, at the end of practice, when I was pro and when I was everything, was because we cooled down with crosses, and it was boom, 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 under pressure, everything. But it was just getting that confidence. So you're absolutely right. It's going up and meeting the ball. Kids get totally discombobulated with it, but it's a lack of training, period.
Yeah,
it's a lack of training. And there's a fundamental, like you said, hand tosses only go so far. There's a fundamental difference of seeing a ball hit off somebody's foot and travel 30 yards in the air than there is a tossing the ball. Yeah,
without a doubt. And just think of baseball, right? When you're doing fly balls. Now it's easier because you have a pile of 100 baseballs and you just whack them and the outfielder goes and gets them. So logistically, it's way easier. And, like goalkeeper coach, you can't show up to the training ground with 6 or 8 balls. Like, you can't do it because you're going to kill yourself with if you're doing crosses that day, you have 6 balls, like you're going to be chasing the ball more than you're actually serving. So you have to look at it like you're catching outfielders with fly balls. We have to just do serves, and as a cool down with different areas on the pitch, and just let your goalkeeper take a bunch. It's like doing goal kicks, right? Like practice at the end of training. That continuity and that feel good factor. Like, hey, I just caught like 30 crosses after training. With pressure, without pressure, and naturally your body, when you're playing, your body just knows what to do, right? The ball's hit and you just do it, and you're not thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, you bring up the hand service thing, Saskia. It's such a perfect analogy, and John and Omar as well too, is that I think the reason that the hands get bad is because with hand service, you can be sloppy with your hands and still get a clean hold of the ball. So you get comfortable with that, and then you get into a game situation and you approach it the same way as hand service.
Well, because there's a fundamental difference between a hand service, which is kind of like a tossed ball that's kind of arcing and coming out, even if you try to throw it a little more line drive, and a 30-yard shot that's coming in, and slowly raising or coming in and then dropping on you with velocity and everything like that, and getting your timing up and trying to go up and catch something like that and corral that, compared to, hey, kid, here. Look, I toss the ball with my hands, as well. Technique. Yeah. But then you could do that. You could do that all day long, and then you go knock some crosses and see how that works for you.
Yeah, and then Yeah, I was looking at my notes of what you mentioned, but when you look at the speed, the texture, the bend, the velocity, whether the field's wet or not, how far the cross is coming from, like these are all things that they're all, if we're talking mathematics, right, we're talking calculations. And as a goalkeeper, you need to be able to handle these calculations in a live athletic setting. So you just need to do it. And set up your training environment where you're dealing with these situations, a 60-yard cross, a 30-yard, one that's a line drive, one that's a back post, one that's driven, one that's kind of bend in, outswinger, inswinger, a straight ball. So your players are comfortable to deal with the ball in the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Omar, I want to ask you this, and Saskia, how are you doing on time? You got to hop out?
I got like 5 more.
Okay. So, Omar, I know that one of the problems that you've had right now is the lack of resources in regards to lack of space for training, and we've all been in that situation too. Do you think that's one of the reasons why it's there's difficulty training crosses? I mean, John, you're talking about in different areas and stuff like that. If you only have 12 to 15-yard area, how are you going to replicate that real scenario? And if you're doing that over and over again at a youth club where they only give you that 15 yards of space, that's a problem we have here in SoCal, John, and Omar, I know you at the park right now, you only have a limited amount of space. How do you work with that?
You get creative, but I think, and I have worked with a club, like a few years ago, and we had like 10 kids and we literally only had the 18. So, I mean, I really want to say you can get creative, but at the end of the day, you're stuck with your resources. And sometimes, yeah, I know I was very happy that we got what we got, but people were like, loose balls were coming into our practice and the kids are just disinterested. They're trying to, get back to their sessions, all this stuff. So, Mike, I don't know if I have an answer for you, because I think if I did, I'd probably, could teach a seminar to these coaches who have lack of resources. But I think, trying to get creative with it. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do. Even if you had the full field, there's only so much we can do as coaches to actually simulate a game. Yes, we can do our best to, get the field players involved and all that. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult because obviously the emotions come into it and all that stuff. So we try to simulate and replicate things, but with crosses, it's one of those difficult ones that, even maybe just breaking it down to, let's, work on the timing. Let's work on you taking contact. Let's work on where your first step goes, your starting position, all little things that you wouldn't need the space for. But again, that's the importance of the context of the session. You got to let the goalkeeper know, today we're going to work on your timing. Okay, I'm going to toss you some different balls. I'm going to go sidearm. I'm going to go underhand. I'm going to go two hands. I'm going to throw you different ones. I just want to see what your patience looks like. So now at least we're working on something that they could potentially translate to a game. But at the end of the day, like John and Saskia said, it's hard to replicate services, in-swingers, out-swingers at pace, at waist height, at head height. Even balls that I used to serve with the goalkeepers that I work with, and it went out, we still had many decisions in those, because now it's like, oh, should I come for that? Do I stay home? We and Mike talk about, like, keepers come out and flat for the ball, but even missed services are really good opportunities for us to learn about what the goalkeeper's instinctual, like, first step looks like. So I think, just being creative, but again, understanding limitations, and then not using that as an excuse, but actually figuring out a way to make the session actually usable and manageable for the keepers.
Yeah. So Saskia, I know it was brought up earlier in regards to, no gloves, working without gloves, that sort of thing. Do you ever do this with flight service in regards to helping them learn how to absorb that ball under pressure?
I do it with every service, especially when they're younger. And it's not a full practice thing. It's just an example thing. Because they for some reason you see kids have it in their head, like, oh, I don't have gloves on, I can't catch the ball. And I'm like, actually,
the magic gloves.
Yeah, I'm like, actually, you can catch the ball better without your gloves on, especially, the little gloves that you're wearing that are your brother's and they're 2 sizes too big for you. And they're amazed at, this is what's catching the ball. This is the strength. And I want them to feel that. And I do it with all sorts of services. And then I'll be like, put your gloves back on, because they want to wear them. But it's just something I like all my players to do and understand and to feel. You got to feel the ball. You got to know it's not the gloves catching the ball. And it is. Look, trust me, the ball's coming 80 miles an hour, and sometimes it helps. Okay? But know that, it's the strength of your hand, your forearms, your positioning, your, how you approach the ball and everything that actually is stopping the ball. Not your $200 gloves.
But I think personally, when it comes to flighted service, the hand shape is so critical in regards to absorbing the shock of actually getting hit and that sort of thing. Because a lot of kids, if there's any sort of contact to them, because their hand shape is not clean, they spill the ball. And so then they start getting really focused on, oh, I have to box everything because I'm just not good at catching. I'm not good at catching.
Right. But that goes back to just handling it in general.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like,
Yeah.
if you can't, yeah, it's not coming in. Think about it. It's not coming in as hard as a shot's coming in, you know, and if you can handle a shot that's coming at you and hold on to that, why can't you handle a cross? Like, you know, because you're getting jostled around a little bit. Well, some shots you have to land on the ground with. I think it's just a strength of hand and positioning and overall handling of the ball across the board. It wasn't like, I didn't think I was taught, really did anything different to catch crosses other than I knew how to hold on to the ball.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Maybe I'm just really scared
overanalyzing
and I'm overanalyzing,
Yeah.
and I just freak out going out for crosses. I think
Because you're little.
Because I'm little. I don't like coming out and getting, because I get hit every time I come out for a cross.
Who gets hit in a cross? Then again, I wasn't a little goalkeeper.
Yeah, John's like, I'm fine. What are you talking
I'm like,
about?
I knocked some people on their butts. I don't know about the other way around.
Omar figured out some sort of mathematical solution to it so he doesn't get hit, you know?
I'm on the shorter side for a goalkeeper too. So I'm going to be the guy that's going to stand by timing your footwork and movement patterns, right? Because I'm 6 foot flat. And on my bio, I'm 6'1", but we all know the real height. But you know, it's all about timing and adjusting your body to the ball and just knowing what you can do. And I always tell my players when we're training and we're training crosses, I said, look, you got to pretend you're a wide receiver in football. Your team's losing, the quarterback throws a Hail Mary. You're training. Like, there's technical saves where you're going to use this recipe to deal with this ball because it's a textbook situation. Oh, the ball's bending into me. I'm going to do a J run or a hook. Nice and easy. I get it. It doesn't always work like that. So you have to have the athletic ability where, dude, they serve the ball, just go and get it. Your body will naturally weave. You know what you're doing because you've trained it. And I say, you're a wide receiver right now. I'm going to serve the ball in. I don't want you to yell away. I want you to go and try to get everything, whether it's something you would get in the game or not, and extend your limits. And then you can use that and tailor it to start build the rapport with your goalkeepers. And they start to feel more comfortable. Like, hey, you're right. I didn't think I could run and get that. And I ran and I intercepted it and I caught it pretty high. I feel better about myself. And that's just going to build their confidence. And then they're going to, I guess, extend their range, right? When the games come.
And then the next thing you know, they're just like, they're like divas, and they're going to be like OBJ style, just one-handed grabs for crosses.
Dude, that was a hell of a catch.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I was at Mike. I think to John's point, I think before Saskia goes, I think it was like people talk about Jerry Rice all the time. They always say that he was never the fastest, never the strongest, but he ran his routes to perfection. Right. And I think that is a great example of probably going to be defenders and people out there who are probably going to get to the ball before you. But like John said, if your patterns are right and your timing is right, footwork is there, you're going to be able to actually do a lot of things that taller goalkeepers may not be able to do.
Yeah, go get the ball.
Yeah.
Be an athlete.
And
don't shuffle the whole way. I love when they do that. I'm sorry.
The crabs, like as Aline calls them, the crabs.
Like, and I'll be like, what are you doing? Like, shuffle and go.
Oh boy. All right. Well, Sas, you got to get out of here, right?
Yeah. I got to go to Zoom.
Oh, and enjoy that.
Woo!
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sorry if anybody's listening right now. They're awesome, amazing, fantastic.
They are awesome. It's just very different. It's very challenging with goalkeepers with Zoom. It's not like everybody can just sit there and do corvers or something like that. Like, I got kids on cement. I got another kid, on a wood deck. I got another kid in the grass, and trying to figure it all out. So multitasking. I got
to head out too. I think.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up right here. John, thanks honestly for joining us for over an hour right here. Appreciate it. Shout out to Plaugic and everything like that for making the connection and everything.
Plaugic.
Yeah, he came on.
Yeah,
he did. He came on to say hello to all of us. He said, "Hey, John and the 18 crew." I don't know why I said it like that. Before so I was making a weird radio voice. Well, I don't know if I could do a Jersey accent. If I
don't, just keep going.
Okay. John, if anybody wants to reach out, they want to know more about modern goalkeeper training systems, where's the best place for people to reach out to you?
So you could text or call me direct, right? And you could find us on Instagram, Modern Goalkeeper Training. We have a website, moderngoalkeepertraining.com. And look, we're here as a resource. It's me. I have my team and staff of goalkeeper coaches. So whether it's coaching or just someone wants to talk about goalkeeping or just reach out and shoot the shit about the game and the position, I'm always available because of course, coaching for a living, but a fan of the game. So would love to connect with some coaches and players.
Cool, awesome. And guys, let's get Saskia's new Twitter account. Let's get that up. Follow her at Saskia_Webber.
I hate all these different forums, man.
Instagram as well, same thing too. You can reach Omar Zeenni at ProGK Academy _. I was going to say at virtual background _ but I think that probably is an actual handle, and somebody might actually go to that and they'll be like, this is not Omar in any way whatsoever. Again, shout out to Plaugic for making this happen. Contact at Inside the 18. That's the number 18media.com. If you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion, if you have somebody else in the Jersey area, we have a quota every month we have to have on. At Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms, at Michael Madgett or michaelmadgettcomedy.com if you want to know about the comedy
it's like
stuff.
The credits are going up.
That's all the time on Inside the 18. Let Saskia get to her Zoom and we are out.